It's an ordinary evening. You're walking home, maybe you've just left a friend's place. Maybe you're heading back from the shop with a bag in your hand. The street is quiet, and then a police car slows beside you. The window comes down and an officer says, friendly as anything, "Evening, got a minute? Where are you off to tonight?" And without even thinking about it, you stop, you turn, you start to explain yourself where you've been, where you're going, why you're out. Because that's what a decent person does. He asks nicely, so you answer. And in that one small, polite moment, you have handed away something you didn't know you had. Because here is what almost nobody in this country understands about that friendly little chat. Very often, you are never required to stop at all. You are free to keep walking the entire time. That officer had no power to make you stand there and account for yourself. But he was counting on you not knowing that and counting on your good manners to do the rest. So today I'm going to give you one question, one calm question, that in a single sentence tells you exactly what kind of situation you are in, whether this is a friendly chat you can walk away from, or a real detention you have to take seriously, and hands the control of that moment straight back to you. It works whether you are on foot, at your door, or standing on a street corner. And I'll show you the exact law and the actual court case that backs it up. And stay with me right to the end, because there is a second thing you have to say the moment the officer answers that question. And it's the part almost everyone gets wrong. People learn the first line, feel clever, ask it, and then when the officer replies, they just carry on standing there, answering his questions anyway, and undo the whole thing. The follow-up is what actually walks you away safely. And I'll give it to you word for word. I'm Oliver Bennett. For 15 years, I defended people in police stations and courtrooms across England and Wales. And I lost count of the number of clients whose entire case began not with an arrest, not with a search, but with a quick chat on the pavement that they thought they were obliged to have. This isn't legal advice, and it certainly isn't about being rude to the police. It's the plain English version of the one thing I wish every person in this country understood before an officer ever says the words, "Got a minute?" So let me start with the single most important fact, the one the whole video rests on. Because once you truly understand it, you will never feel trapped in one of these encounters again. In England and Wales, the police do not have a general power to detain you, simply to ask you questions. Read that again slowly. There is no law that says an officer can make you stop, stand still, and account for your movements just because he'd like you to. It doesn't exist. If you are not being lawfully detained, and I'll explain exactly what that means in a moment, then a police officer talking to you on the street is doing something the law calls a stop and account. And in a stop and account, you are free to leave at any time. You can be polite, you can say good evening, and you can keep walking, and you have broken no law whatsoever. And this isn't me being clever or wishful. This was settled by the courts in a case called Walker against the Commissioner of Police for the Metropolis back in 2014. An officer blocked a man in a doorway to stop him leaving while he questioned him without arresting him. And the court was clear. Holding someone like that, stopping them from walking away when you have not arrested them and have no power to detain them, is not just a chat. It is false imprisonment. It is unlawful. The police cannot simply pen you in and demand answers. And when they do it without a power, that is something you can take action over afterwards. Let me make this real, because it's easy to hear false imprisonment and think it's something that only happens in dramatic cases. It isn't. I acted for more than one person over the years whose entire ordeal started exactly like the scene I opened with. A quiet street, a friendly officer. Where have you been tonight? And because they felt they had to, they stood there and answered. And one throwaway sentence, one nervous, "Oh, just coming back from a mate's. We had a couple of drinks," was all it took for a welfare chat to become a search, and a search to become a night they didn't plan on. Not one of them was ever obliged to stand there in the first place. Not one of them knew it. And that gap between what they thought they had to do and what the law actually required is the entire reason cases like theirs exist. The officer didn't trick them with a clever power. He simply relied on the fact that a polite person, asked a direct question, answers it. Your good manners were the only thing holding you there. Now I have to be completely straight with you, because half-truths in this area